This is The Miller's Edge with Christian Miller, two-time national champion and team captain for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain, a 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants, and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is The Miller's Edge.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are still able to focus and pay attention, because I know we've had so much content, right? Everybody's been consuming so much content over the last 24 hours with Alabama attending SEC Media Days in Atlanta. So I'm sure you guys are probably almost contented out. But don't worry, we're going to keep it pushing. We've got plenty to dive back into yesterday, so I'm sure you guys have heard a good bit. But we went to the phone lines majority of the time yesterday, which is totally fine. We always enjoy going to the people. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to hop on and join the conversation. But there's a couple things that I do want to circle back to from yesterday. Obviously, we had Kalen DeBoer on the show Tuesday. We heard from him yesterday at Media Days. We didn't necessarily get to it here on our show, but I'm sure you've heard it, whether on online, other shows, whatever the case may be. But we'll try to mix it up so it's not too much of the same stuff. We will hear from Coach DeBoer, but I want to get his interview when he sat down with SEC Network and talked with the likes of Roman Harper, who also joined the show last Friday, just because I thought those questions were really well worded and just were a little bit different than the typical podium-based questions. So we'll hear from that video. We still got Deontay Lawson and Caden Proctor. If you guys would like to dive into those interviews, we can always listen to them. We did get to Tim Keenan yesterday, but that was about it from yesterday, which is funny enough, Chase. I thought we would have been, really the whole way just talking SEC Media Days. But the good news is we had so much engagement and folks wanted to call in and talk that we went with you guys, which is, again, what we like to do here on the show. And now that I think about it, Ricky brought up a great football question, and I tried my best to explain that whole deal, over the radio through the stream. But I will say this, though. I found a little diagram that we can throw on the screen that will help out a little bit too. And I won't take too long explaining it if we do dive into that, but just kind of going over the different gaps, how they're labeled. That way you have a better understanding. I didn't think about that initially when I'm like, okay, I'm talking about fronts. But I skipped over. Number one, I didn't even realize a lot of people didn't know what the word front meant. And then even the number system, how we label gaps. I guess I just assumed that stuff, but we'll circle back. Maybe we'll start a little segment. That way we can just, break it up each day. And it's just called, I don't know, little football lesson segment each day. You just learn one little thing each day. Next thing you know, you guys are going to be future head coaches before you know it. That being said, a couple other things we definitely can dive into. I know PFF College had a short little minute-long video of them kind of breaking down Alabama as a whole. We know they've been going, position by position, looking at different groups for this upcoming season. But now I think they're kind of putting a bow on everything, and they had a lot of high praise for Alabama. It sounds like that's becoming the narrative that we are starting to see regarding Alabama, which is kind of interesting. I'm wondering, Chase, what has kind of turned the tide, no pun intended? Because if you think about it, just a few weeks ago when we were talking about SEC football outlooks post-spring, right? Even if you go back to the spring, which really wasn't that long ago. But I feel like the narrative was LSU, Texas with Arch Manning, and even the Georgia narrative. You're always going to have that. But it felt like Alabama just wasn't necessarily receiving, the same level of attention or respect, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I know some people, obviously, our fan base, but just around the league, around, in terms of different networks and sports pundits, just felt like they had like Alabama kind of, even look, if you go back, think about it, Chase, we were watching what was like the initial post-spring stuff. A lot of people had us around 8 through 12, which personally, initially, and that was more on the national stage. I still don't think that was a terrible spot. And if anything, I thought that was pretty fair. I said anywhere between, I think 5 through 12, I understood. If you're including last year, going into this year. However, that being said, when I looked at the SEC, I always felt like we just were getting the short end of the stick. Fast forward to now, I don't know if it's because of, media day, being able to hear from some of the coaches and players a little bit more? Are people finally just coming around to it and really taking a step back and looking at, the pieces that we have going into this year? But seems like the tide is turning, Chase. A lot of people are starting to really buy some stock into Alabama. So I wouldn't say it's too late. I think we can still let people slide if they want to start getting some stock in Alabama. We'll let it slide. But I'm telling you though, they better do it now, because once the season kicks off, I'm really confident in this football team. I'm excited to see what they can do, and I'm already knowing it's going to get even greater in terms of that swing with everybody trying to jump back on the bandwagon. But if they weren't on it, we'll just let them stay on the outside and they can watch from afar. It also, another note that I have that I want to potentially dive into, because again, updates always come with this stuff, but the playoffs, right, kind of got lost in the sauce with everything else going on. But obviously Greg Sankey has been being asked about his outlook on the playoffs, what he prefers, what could be the future of the playoff system. And look, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to SEC and the Big Ten. There's got to be some common ground, because those are going to be the two forces that come together and really are the ones that lay out they're the ones that come up with the layout for the future of the playoffs. We already know that. But now we've kind of hit a little bit of a point, Chase, where it seems like the SEC and the Big Ten, we're kind of we're on two separate pages right now. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means, because the Big Ten, they want one thing, the SEC wants another. And so we might have had a little stalemate here, and we'll see kind of how this whole thing plays out. But maybe we'll dive into that. Plus, per usual, got to remind you guys, you can always send us things on X at the Miller's Edge. If you got articles or video clips that you want us to check out, listen to, react to, go ahead and send those to us over on X, and we'll do just that. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, you can get in on the conversation, 205-342-9904, giving us a call, just like Ricky did yesterday. It looks like he might do again today, because he's here in the YouTube chat, and he says he's got another defensive question, which I love it. I love it. That means we're going to dive into our little football teaching segment, whatever. Until we come up with that name, we'll just call that our football teaching segment again today, and more, all coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their showroom to serve you better. Come see their new and pre-owned Mazda lineup, offering fuel efficiency, advanced technology, and plush comfort. Tuscaloosa Mazda, 3100 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Travelpreneur, what's up, Ricky? All right, I'm waiting on it, man. Ephraim, how do you what's the pronunciation? Is it Ephraim or? Yeah, we do radio and stream. Yeah. Oh, you didn't realize that? Yeah, that's why we're literally going in and out of breaks and stuff like that. Ephraim, all right, got you. Yeah, so we're a radio show, but we just stream live. So yeah, you're exactly right. Mike, what's going on, man? Glad to have you back. Let's see. I'm trying to think of where we could go first that won't be too much time. Maybe we'll start with the short videos first. Let me see if I can find this diagram I was talking about for Ricky too, though. Pull this up. That way we if we need to put on the screen for you guys, we can do that. Next thing you know, we're just gonna be playing Madden on the stream, then just showing you guys. Like, say, look, we can put Madden on here, and then or NCAA. I don't think we have to worry about copyrights with that. Let's see.
Playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. Your home with those premium art supports designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it. Head on over to the Good Feet Store right now, Midtown Village here in Tuscaloosa, off of McFarland Boulevard is where you can find them. Or you can always go to their website right there. You can see it on the stream there, goodfeet.com. Type in your zip code, find the nearest location to you, find out plenty more information on those art supports and how they're designed to eliminate and alleviate all that pain in just 4 short weeks. You got to check them out. Let them change your life like they've changed mine. Again, that is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. So here's what we're going to do, Chaser, to start off. So we got a number of little clips from yesterday, right? I do want to get to that full video, and we can let's start with let's start with the small clips. That way we can just go through it real quick and just have a number of different things to talk about. Instead of listening to one long video. But there's a couple things that came up at media days that I thought were, important topics or things that have been questions that, we finally got some more answers to. One of those being Coach Saban's involvement in recruiting. I know Coach DeBoer joined folks in the next round at media days, and they asked him about that. And so for all you guys wondering, if you missed this clip, what is Coach Saban's role exactly when it comes to recruiting? I know we had some people ask me that question, and I'll let you guys hear from Kalen DeBoer, but it's pretty much what I was explaining. So let's just let you hear what Kalen DeBoer had to say regarding that, because obviously, a lot of people saying, oh, well, Alabama's doing well in recruiting because of Coach Saban. Well, is it true? We'll hear straight from the head coach himself, Coach Kalen DeBoer, on Coach Saban's involvement.
I've loved the way you and Nick Saban have managed y'all's relationship, because that could have been an overbearing thing. You're going into year 2 here, but he pops up on a recruiting weekend. Explain to our viewers how y'all's relationship is working, and it seems to be benefiting both of you, really.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he's really busy. Yeah. He's got a lot going on, and I do too. And there was one time, it was in the spring. I think it was probably in June, actually early June. And I was trying to find a time. I had my assistant check with his. I'm trying to find a date, before fall camp. And we could not find a date where we could get together. He's busy doing his thing. But here's the thing I know. I know that you don't put everything into a program for as many years as he did. And, he's got his fingerprints and then some all over the place, when it comes to what this tradition, what the pride of this place is all about. He added to it, made it better. And, before he got there compared to when he left. And, he's obviously right there, still employed by the university in a capacity, has an office over there in the stadium. And, at any time I know that a staff member or myself would have a question or want to reach out to him, I know he'd be open to that. He wants Alabama football to be successful. You don't just do it and then let it drift off and it not bother you. So when it comes to the question you had, he just worked out to where there was a time in his slot, and I had just met with him and seen him, and it had been a while, but I got a chance to pop over and say hi, and just worked out for us to have a couple meeting slots, and then it was cool because I felt like it was a special time. Because these were guys that he had met with, I'm trying to make sure compliance-wise. I'm navigating. I'm thinking ahead before I talk here, making sure that
nobody pays attention.
That's right.
Don't worry.
Right, right.
No, I understand.
Making sure that it was really cool because these are some guys that he had met with, early in their recruiting process, and just why not make something special for people when they come to your campus for an official visit? And that's what I'm always trying to do. And that was the case in that situation.
So there you go. So like I mentioned, when I gave my thoughts on it, it's pretty much what he ended up saying. But I wanted you guys to hear it from him exactly, so you didn't just think I just was saying it. So that's pretty much his involvement. I mean, if they want to set up something with him, they have that luxury, but it's not like he's in the building overseeing things. He's not like he's in every, official visit weekend, having his hand on stuff. No, it's just he's a resource, just, like we talked about a few days ago. I mean, that's what he's for. Obviously, he's busy as well. They both are busy, but in terms of Coach Saban, yeah, I mean, it's not like when I say resource, he's not going to always be just right there. He still has other things, but if it lines up like Coach DeBoer was talking about, Coach Saban's always happy to do what he can. So I just wanted to share that because I know a lot of people had questions kind of regarding Coach Saban's role, and I figured, why not hear from Kalen DeBoer himself? Obviously, he would be able to give you guys the exact answer that you guys are looking for. So there was that. Another clip that came up from yesterday. This is when Coach was at the podium, and I thought this one was good because this is a good question, right? And that question was, does Coach DeBoer himself feel that he lived up to the Bama standard in year one? Definitely a tough question, really tough question. Because obviously, I mean, look, we've talked about, I mean, obviously everybody's given their own opinions, but him being asked that's putting him on a tough spot because, from a personal standpoint, I think he clearly knows that, yeah, he probably fell a little short of that standard because we know the standard here is through the roof. At the same time, he's also aware of what all went into that year one and that transition, all the difficulties and challenges that they faced, and that's very valid. However, he probably is aware that if he makes a comment on that, people are going to just immediately say, oh, he's making excuses. So he was in a tough spot with this question, but I thought he handled it really well. So this was Coach DeBoer's response to if he believes that they lived up to the Alabama standard in year one after he took over for the GOAT, Nick Saban.
Did your year one live up to the Bama standard?
In which way? Or like to me personally, or
what you evaluate to be the Bama standard? Do you feel like your year one lived up to it?
Yeah, I mean, for if you internally ask us, no, like we fell short of making the playoffs, as simple as that, right? And giving yourself a chance to go compete for a championship. I think there's a lot of things that I'm super proud of that are happening within the program that are part of the progression. Yeah, we want it right now too. So, yeah, we fell short. Our guys, again, I'm proud of them and the way they've responded to, us, not realizing the goals that we, set out to have and getting back just to work, focusing on the main thing. I feel that's always been the case, but sometimes there's just ups and downs you got to go through, unfortunately, that we had to experience. But in the end, we're going to take advantage of the failures we've had and be better because of it.
I thought he answered that really well, right? I mean, like you mentioned, obviously, there's some things that they had to go through. Sorry, I don't know. We paused the screen. I don't know who this guy is walking through this pasture right here. Anyway, but I thought he answered that well. I mean, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be some things they had to get over. And look, they're going to use that as a learning opportunity. So kudos to him for handling that question, because definitely a tough question, Chase. I mean, wouldn't you agree that's a pretty tough one to get thrown at you while you're sitting at that podium? I mean, how would you have answered that question? I mean, if you were him, I mean, would you have said, look, I don't think we lived up to it, or would you try to hype your guys up? Because you also don't want to. That's the other thing. When you answer that question, you don't really want to. If you want to be honest, number one, but number two, you kind of run the risk of, like, if you do so, I don't think we lived up to it. You don't want to feel like, you don't want your guys to hear that and be like, damn, coach, like, he don't really, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't proud of us. You think he would have handled that question pretty well, Chase?
I believe so. I think just the way he answered it was spot on. You kind of have a balance between point A and point B, because you're right. You don't want to go back to a dejected locker room because there's people still on that team from last year.
Exactly.
So you need to keep that morale up. You need to kind of keep it going. But then you need to be serious because they hired Kalen DeBoer for a reason, and that's to win. And I don't think anybody, I know you don't like being mediocre. Excuse me. So I don't think they lived up to it, but you still want to keep them morale. There's still stuff to be built upon, and Kalen DeBoer answered it just the way he needed to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely was a tough one they threw at him, but he did good with that. I know the interview that I want to play is probably about 9 minutes, but we can go ahead and jump into at least part of it and roll with that for now. Because Roman asked him, we talked about the defense here. Roman actually asked him directly about his thoughts on the defense, so we can talk about that. And there's another question they asked, and I thought it was solid, but let's go ahead and do that. It's Laura Rutledge, Roman Harper, and the rest of the crew with the SEC Network, but they had him sit down at their panel, and some really good football questions came up that I thought, so I want to get to it. Let me find this slide. I just had it pulled up. There it is. And so here we go. So this is Kalen DeBoer and his expectations of the quarterback and a number of things that he was asked when he joined SEC Now yesterday at SEC Media Days.
Joining our set, we were just telling you that we had a little, I don't know, I'm not going to call it a wager because we didn't actually bet anything, but we were trying to do the over-under on your opening statement up there at the podium, and I was hammering the over. Rome took the under.
I did. I said it. I said it at 5 and some change. You hammered the over. Ben said yes. People got some they want some explaining here.
We want to hear. This is Alabama.
Coach DeBoer is going to hammer it. He's got to do it.
Well, you came in and did a media presentation to us a year ago. I was taking notes, so I got better because of you. That helped me right now.
I didn't do my own self-scout. I did not own self-scout. I got to take that into consideration. 20 minutes. Great job.
It was great stuff, Coach. When you were asked about the Alabama standard, I thought you handled the question really well, and I just want to dive into that a little bit more. Just what is it like behind the scenes with this team and your message to them? Because I think we all get so, they must be just talking about all this every day. And you guys are working day to day on getting better. How have you seen them respond to your message in that way?
Yeah, well, we know that's what the success of this program's always been on, is there's going to be a lot of attention. There's going to be, we call it noise, right? That surrounds everything we do day to day, the highs, the lows, and really it doesn't matter.
Walmart's got low prices for back to.
Sorry, guys. A quick little ad break there, but this is another really good question. How he handles that pressure, pretty much of knowing that standard is just so high at Alabama, man. But so far, man, a year under his belt, I feel like he's done a really good job. But we'll let him finish his answer.
The ones, I have officially not seen exactly where we came even in the preseason rankings.
It's pretty high. We won't tell you though.
Okay, I think maybe
number 1. Like number 3. Yeah. Some people have you higher though.
And it wouldn't matter if we were first or last. In the end, it's about us deciding, what that's going to look like, and us understanding that action, and that's what we've really focused on, is action, not words, but action. Being what it really comes down to. And so action is a lot of things. It's your routines, it's your work habits, it's action in building relationships and all that. That's going to help us. It's being intentional in all of these things, and the action supported by action.
Now, Coach, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty slow to come around to certain things, right, that I believe in or where I'm kind of against. And so I want you to explain to me and bring me closer to how much I'm going to love this second year of Alabama's defense versus some of the mistakes, some of the things we didn't have the success in doing, giving up the big plays over the top of the defense. How are they going to be better? What is it going to look like? How do they look better? How am I going to be feeling about this defense?
Well, there's a lot of positives to build on, right? We were in the top 4 in the country in takeaways, most takeaways in a long time. And so, when I look at that, those are game changing. Like, that's getting the ball back to your offense immediately. I think early in the season, there was a lot of times where there were breakdowns, things that we just, call them growing pains. And obviously we always take and we own it, because you fell short of either teaching it.
Yep.
But also I think there's just a timeline of things that you put in as far as installation of answers that you want to have that complement what your base scheme is. And so, I think personnel, where we were at a year ago compared to where we're at now, we have a much better understanding. And I think that especially in the back half, we're much deeper and more experienced group than we were a year ago. There were some times, and again, I hate saying this because it sounds like excuse. There were some times where we went through a week of practice and we hardly had anyone to be able to put out there in the middle of the season. And the guys grinded through it. It showed me a lot about the want to and the desire. And when you got those type of people, that good things can come. You just got to stay the course.
Yes. Coach, you talked a little bit about being limited in some respects offensively last year, not necessarily because of personnel, but just time on task. Sometimes you were feast or famine when it came offensively. I think that was some of the frustration in watching sometimes, even with the generational talent like Jalen Milroe. You bring in a new offensive coordinator that you've been with. Relationships matter. You talked about that. Talk about just the leap that you expect to see from year one and year two offensively for your team when it comes to things like not only communication, but performance, play calling, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think there's a depth to what you can add to your foundation. Again, kind of like what we were talking about defensively, but there was things that we did well offensively last year and did at a high level. But what are teams going to do? They're going to try to take your best things away from you. And there wasn't enough banked reps. There wasn't enough confidence, that maybe in those critical moments that you had, because you're still incorporating, you're still installing the things that you've done years past. It just takes time to be efficient, to execute it. And then there was also just an adjustment to our personnel. That's always going to be the case. I pride ourselves on what we've done adjusting over the years to a team that has better tight ends or a team that has better receivers, being able to get 2 running backs on the field if that's your strength, run versus pass. But Ryan Grubb coming in and just our familiarity with each other, my trust in him that, we've talked through a lot of the problems over the years, and there's a reason why we have that foundation where we start. But his experiences, even what he did last year in the NFL, man, that's just another level of growth that he's had.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth that happens. And so he's brought some more elements to add to what is our foundation that fit our personnel. And the rest of the staff has done a great job getting him up to speed immediately on, hey, this is why we did this. This is what we felt. This is what you're going to see in the SEC first week, last week. So, I'm excited about that week, year 1 to year 2. That growth should happen anyway, but especially with someone that you've been through the fire with for many years. I think it's going on 13 or 14 years. I'm excited about this season in that capacity.
Coach, it's so hard to build a culture, a locker room in today's world, but you did something extraordinary. You basically retained your roster. How did you do it?
That's a credit to the staff and our players. A staff that is aligned, communicates well, pours into our guys. I think our players understanding that.
All right, so quick little commercial break, 2 seconds here, but really like the way he's answered all these questions so far. All right, here we go.
They're going to get developed, and they believe in the development that they're getting from our coaching staff. That there's an experience that they're going to have in this program. And you naturally think football, but it's also the other pieces, the social, the academic experiences, that there's just if you just stay with it, you're going to enjoy the experience. You're going to get developed, and there's going to be some great moments. And it's hard to appease everyone. We have a roster of, 85 scholarships and a bunch of walk-ons. And so, it's hard to appease everyone, but to feel that for the most part, everyone stayed. There's obviously guys getting baited to go places, and they just stayed put. I think that says a lot about our coaching staff, but it also says, a lot about our players and the character they have and them seeing what's the main thing. And that's those areas that I was talking about.
You mentioned Ty Simpson getting first-team reps at quarterback. Will he be your starter?
If we play today, he would be our starter. And so, we announced that kind of after the spring.
Right.
Nothing's really changed since then. He's done a great job of continuing to grow himself. And that's under the tutelage of, again, Ryan Grubb, Nick Sheridan. Those guys are just pouring all into not just Ty, but our whole quarterback room. I'm excited about the growth of Ty. I think, again, trying to make sure that a guy gets out there and doesn't feel like he's got to be all world. Okay, even though we want our quarterback to be more than just a guy that just, distributes the ball. We need him to go out and make plays. And so he'll grow into that. He doesn't need to, prove that and try to do too much. Trust the guys around him, trust his offensive line, trust the receiving core that I think has improved as well. And, just their relationships are important and their continuity, and they're operating on a different level now than what they were a year ago for sure.
Coach, Ben mentioned about being time on task, how you naturally get things a little bit better. For me, I always felt the more I learned the defense, it wasn't like I learned more as much as I learned what I could get away with.
Yeah.
And so now more time on task with you as the Alabama head coach, besides absolutely learning that you can get away with wearing maybe a black shirt on the sidelines during games, which we know that was a huge deal early. All right. What are some of the other things that you've learned as being more time on task in Tuscaloosa, as being the head coach at Alabama, that maybe not maybe you can just get away with, but things that I don't have to focus on as much, that this is what I can really focus on?
Well, I think there's, as relationships grow, there's trust, right? When you're talking about what you can get away with, or however, like it's because you have trust in the guy that's behind you, in front of you, that, man, like I know what our defense is, and I know that this guy knows what our defense is. I can take a calculated risk because I know what I'm seeing in front of me, and 99% of the time the quarterback did this when this, happened. And so how does that translate to the other parts, the other areas? It's trust, right? Yeah. It's trust that there's reasons why you wear what you wear, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, right? There's reasons,
This is like a good time for you to open your jacket up and show what you're working on the inside. He's got a botanical garden on the inside. So
my daughter picked it up.
He chooses what he wants to wear too.
I just know this was like the hugest, most dumbest distraction I heard from people last year.
You learn the cult. You learn the culture.
You listen to too much talk radio.
Yeah, that's your fault. Go ahead.
But I think it's just trusting that, man, you respect what this place is, you respect the game, you respect the people, and as you are around the community, the fan base, the donors, the players, that, man, the heart is in the right place when it comes to myself, our staff, and that, man, there's a competency that they have to where we're going to go out there and just continue to stay the course. We're not going to get caught up in the noise, as we started this segment off with. Just, there's a lot of good things that are happening, and we just got to stay with it.
Yeah, Coach, I think you've earned a lot of that respect, and it's really great to see you here. We appreciate you spending some time with us. And
there you go. That was Kalen DeBoer sitting down with SEC Now. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. What we're going to do here, though, we're going to take a quick time out. We come back. We're going to discuss what we just heard, plus a couple of things we're going to dive into. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to respond to that and give your thoughts on it, get in on the conversation. Ricky's got another defensive question. We'll get to that here in a little bit when he's ready. But anyway, we got plenty more coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
365.
Sorry, I was locked in on that interview. I forgot we were coming back. Mike was on mute. Carson, what's up? Masterful interview from DeBoer. Yeah, I thought it was a good one, man. I thought they asked some really good questions. We'll talk about first part with Roman's question about the defense. Obviously, he pointed out the positives we always talk about, forcing the turnovers. But he made some really good points. I mean, obviously, with the new system comes some growing pains, and I think that's what we saw. Granted, I would say, I mean, initially, didn't we start the year off with what was it? I forgot, because I know Keon Sabb had that 2-game interception. So, I mean, early on, I mean, they still were, forcing those turnovers, but you could just tell once they started getting into the thick of it. I mean, there still was definitely some growing pains to be experienced, but I think they got a lot better as it went on. Coach has gotten comfortable here too. Yeah, he definitely seems a lot more comfortable, man. Even just his presence there at SEC Media Days, which makes sense. I mean, that place is a zoo, but he definitely seemed to be a lot more comfortable, confident, handled it extremely well. Saban felt the same pressure because of success. I don't know if I would say it was the same pressure, but there definitely was pressure given that the standard was still high. So I get what you're saying. Anybody that coaches here is going to feel that type of pressure in terms of having to win a national championship or bust. But yeah, actually, no, now that I think about it, you're right. I mean, and it might have been, if you think about it, I mean, Coach almost had no choice because he did it, so consistently that if he didn't do that, there's not really a built-in excuse of Coach DeBoer is new. He's not Coach Saban, this, that, and the third. I mean, with Coach, it's like, nah, well, you've done it X amount of times. Why aren't you doing it right now? So you're actually right. I agree with you. Definitely was a lot of pressure on him. Henry, what's up, man? Roll Tide. See what's going on. I know we still got Proctor and Deontay we can get to in a little bit, but we'll go to Ricky right here when we come back after we respond. It's like he created this monster. Exactly. That's literally what it feels like, right? But I mean, I feel like that's a good problem to have.
With a proven track record of over 30 plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Also, 1230, we will be joined by Reagan Stern of R&R Cigars. I want to get his thoughts on everything going on in the SEC, get his outlook, his preseason outlook going on in terms of the SEC, some of these top teams we'll talk about. Plus, there's a big UFC fight weekend at R&R Cigars this weekend, so we'll discuss that. And what that means for you guys that are around here in town looking for something to do this weekend, especially if you're a fight fan, man, definitely got to check out R&R Cigars. Go watch the fights, enjoy cigars, 160 bourbons, and more over there. So make sure you guys are ready for that. But that is coming up here in a minute. But we got Ricky on the phone line. So before we go to him, let's just respond real quick to what we just heard. And I'll be quick. That way we can get Ricky on here. But first question regarding the defense, Roman asked him kind of, basically what we were talking about here on the show, how is that defense going to look going into year two? Obviously, new system, vision-based coverage. Saw a lot of, good things done with it, a lot of turnovers forced. Also, Roman felt that there were some opportunities for the offense to, get over the top, make some explosive plays. And Coach DeBoer had a good answer there, just basically explaining, look, first and foremost, he pointed out the positives that come from that type of defense and what they saw last year, things that they can build off of. Then he also felt that, obviously they went through some growing pains, which is, expected. And we talked in great length about that last year, adjusting to a whole new scheme, having to learn a whole new scheme after doing it for quite some time, and then having to just basically do something completely different. That obviously was a tough task, and he felt that they got better as the course of the year went on. So we heard that answer. I think Ben asked him about the offense, how that will look with Ryan Grubb, and obviously he spoke very highly of Ryan Grubb, talked about the importance of having that balance, being able to be prepared because they know that people are going to try to take away the things they did well last year. So good stuff there. Obviously, they asked him about the quarterback stuff. Nothing new there. That's why we didn't even waste the time really talking about it. I mean, Ty's the guy that's leading the charge right now. If they played today, he would be the guy. And I just thought overall some really solid stuff. So really good interview. If you guys want to respond to that, feel free to drop it in the chat. But without further ado, let's go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Ricky Rose back on the lines. Ricky, welcome in.
What's going on, man?
Man, can't complain, brother. How's everything?
Man, so check this out. You know what I'm noticing about like former players who still like love the game of football versus other former players who bought into like new media personalities. So like Roman, like you got guys like Roman, the Pastor Payne. You guys are asking these coaches like about defensive schemes. Like what does the defense look like? You guys aren't really harping on the quarterback because you still kind of feel good about the position even from like the last 2 years. So like I'm noticing guys like that are like former players that are like going into the clickbait world versus guys who are still trying to like see what like Alabama brings like as a team. So I'm starting to notice that difference. That's what I hear with these interviews and things like that. Like the separation between the Greg McElroys and the Roman Harpers and the Paul Feinbaums and the Nick Saban.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting you know I kind of start to see the difference a little bit for some guys.
That's why I throw that out there. I'm like, that's why I said the other day, I'm like, just start paying attention to like what you're listening to, and you'll be able to you'll realize, you know what I mean, who's just asking questions that just follow the same things everybody. What's the quarterback battle look like? Oh, tell me about Ryan Williams going like you know, it's nothing wrong with those questions, but if you guys really want to know like behind, you know, take a peek really behind the scenes and really what is actually going on, yeah, try to find people that will ask those types of questions, those football specific questions, and I think you'll get a lot more, you know, depth to those answers. And it's just something different. Again, there's, you know, different. Some people like different stuff. Some people are cool with just the basic. Oh, who's the quarterback going to be? That's all they care about. But if you're like yourself,
those
you
are
like,
basic. They basic just like fans.
hey, you all right? That's like that. Stop for you. You gonna make it seem like we're criticizing people, man. That's all.
Listen,
I'll let you.
I'm a fan, so I can talk about fans. Like I get that you gotta hold it together, but I'm free range. I can do that. I'm a fan.
There you go.
I know how we act. All right, so listen, I'm going back to defense again because I know you talked to me yesterday about like gap control.
Mm-hmm.
The nose guard or nose tackle or however you want to like phrase them.
Yeah.
Do you consider them to be the guys to disrupt plays, or does that still like fall on your linebackers?
Yeah, so that's a good question, man. So it really is going to look. Everything starts up front. And I'm not taking away from linebackers. I mean, I played outside linebacker, but the reality is, I mean, the guys up front, man, they can make or break a linebacker unit, man. And here's why. Because I mean, and it really depends on the system. Some systems are different, but a lot of systems they do rely on having those guys up front, man. They got to eat up blocks. They got to, you know, get disruption. That way they allow those linebackers to flow and make those plays. I mean, just, you know, speaking on my experience playing in Coach Saban's system, his system is designed for the linebackers to eat, man. Like, I mean, that's literally what it was for. When you run a 3-4 defense with those big, beefy guys, because in a 3-4, you got to have bigger defensive linemen, right? Their job, you know, we had two gappers, big, you know, guys that are eating up blocks that allowed, you know, guys like Ruben, Reggie, Sean Dion, Rashawn to flow and to make plays. Even from an outside linebacker perspective, you know, our job was to get everything kicked. We always wanted to force everything onto the outside, right? Where, you know, we had, you know, free runners. That was our job. So if I had a puller coming at me, my job was to close on it and get it kicked. That way I could get it to, you know, a free running linebacker. But in terms of, like, you know, the playmakers, man, I mean, I'm a firm believer that everything starts up front. That's why we always harp on having such strong defensive line play. Because if you have poor defensive line play, it makes everybody else's job harder, more difficult, right? The linebacker's job is more difficult. Runs are breaking free. That means those DBs who probably don't really want to tackle in the first place, or, balls get to second, third level. Now they're forced to make a play. So I think everything starts up front. But that's how. But everybody, you know, is, you know, free to make plays.
So you, as an outside linebacker, you rely heavily on the nose tackle to occupy blockers for you to do your job efficiently.
As an outside backer, not so much, but inside backers, absolutely. Yeah, inside backers, yeah, you definitely rely on those guys up front because they help keep them clean, right? Like let me dive in a little bit deeper. So look, I talked about yesterday, everybody's responsible for gaps. So remember, you got the A gap, which is on the left and right side of the center, right? So those are your A gaps. B gaps are going to be in between the tackle and the guards on each side, and C gap is outside of the tackles. So every gap should be accounted for. So if you think about it, so we talked about, over versus under fronts. Those are, real basic fronts, right? When you look at an under, basically, so you'll have a 5 technique, a 1 technique, and a 3 technique. And under front, basically that 5 will be to like the strength. So like if you have a tight end lined up to the defensive right, we'll have a 9 technique out there. We'll have a 5 technique next to him. You'll have a 1 technique, then a 3 technique. And so the line, if you think about it, so those guys, so the guy in the 3 technique, he's a B gap player. 1 technique would be an A gap player. 5 technique, he'll be a C gap player. So then basically those other gaps are divided between the backers. So that you have one guy in a B, one in the A, and sometimes depending on the system, they've got to, read and react, A to C, stuff like that we talked about yesterday. Some systems need those backers to play multiple gaps. Others are more just kind of single. But what I'm getting at is the nose is, or tackles, either they're important because number one, they've got to play their gaps. But 2, depending on how things play out with the offensive line, they help those linebackers out. And this is what I mean. So one run play in football that's really popular is called duo. So if you, and I'm sure you probably heard it, but what that means, duo is where they're doubling up to the linebackers. Okay. So literally the goal of those guards is they're trying to bang on those defensive tackles and then work up to the second level and to block those linebackers. The reason these tackles are so important because the good ones, man, they'll try to eat all that up and that don't even allow that to happen. And plus the linebackers got to be able to read and react, play fast. That way he can, do his job as well. But does that make sense? So when you have situations like that where you've got guards trying to get to that second level, a really good defensive line, big, strong, physical guys can help disrupt that, or at least disrupt the timing of it, right? If you got a tackle that can really eat up a double team, because what happens is if you got how do I explain this as simple as possible? That guard can move up to that second level as fast as they defeat that double team, right? Like those offensive linemen are not taught to just bang a hip and go straight to the linebacker. Their job is to bully that defensive tackle, get push, and then make his way to the second level. Well, if you've got a strong physical defensive tackle and he knows how to really eat that double team and he's not moving, that buys your linebacker more time. So to answer your question, that's why those defensive tackles are really important to have really good linebacker play.
So another question that I would have is, do you find it that the nose tackle has a harder time locating the ball carrier versus, say, the middle or outside linebacker? Or would you say it's a little easier? Or would you say it's a little easier compared to like guys coming off the edge or coming down through the middle?
I would say guys on the second level typically probably would have a little bit easier of a time seeing things just because they have better vision, right? I'll share this on the screen. This is a 3-4 under front. But anyway, the guys up front, they can't really see as much, hence why communication is so important, even pre-snap. That's why it's so important for these linebackers to be able to communicate, because if you see the screen, when the guy is in his stance, like, yeah, technically, if you have time pre-snap, a defensive lineman can, look up, kind of scan real quick, but realistically, he's got to be in his, his stance and ready to go. So the linebackers, they have a much better field of view, and so they're going to be able to read and react way better than, the guys up front. But to be fair, everything's really about gaps. So even, say we're talking about the shade or the nose tackle, even in this diagram, yeah, he's trying to track the ball carrier, but first and foremost, it's all about dominating your box. That was what we used to always say with Coach Saban. Everybody just needs to dominate their box. You almost don't want to get caught up too much looking around, because then you're not focused on the man in front of you who's literally telling you everything. So, I would always, preach to guys or, make it clear, first and foremost, before you're looking for the ball carrier, trying to, because offense too, they're doing a lot of smoke and mirrors. They're trying to show, flash eye candy. That way you do start, losing your responsibilities. So you don't want to be, you don't want to fall for the bait, right? You want to dominate your box and then find the ball carrier. But to answer your question, yeah, second level guys are going to have better vision than obviously third level guys, the DBs. They're seeing even more. So the further you are from the football, the better the vision you have. In terms of kind of what's going on. But that's why communication is important to help the guys out in front of you that might not have as good as a view as you do.
So with guys up front like occupying blocks,
Mm-hmm.
is it up to the linebacker core to anticipate plays, or do you still kind of rely on that that defensive front?
Both. I mean, look, you can always anticipate plays regardless of the guys in front of you in terms of your guys, right? I mean, the anticipation part that comes from knowing and understanding football formations, personnel, tendencies that offenses have, right? Like in this diagram, I mean, this formation right here, I mean, you're looking at I formation, right? Definitely very kind of old school formation now as you think about it. Nobody really lines up in an I formation, but it's 21 personnel. You got 2 backs, 1 tight end, and they're lined up in I formation. ISO, lead plays. I mean, like there's different plays. So as a linebacker, if you want to have that ability to anticipate, you could say, all right, I'm going to look up the tendencies. When they line up in 21, first I need to know that, right? Now I know, okay, I formation. These are some of the things that they get to in I formation. Like I said, it could be ISO, it could be a toss, whatever it is, right? Different teams are going to have different tendencies. That's where that anticipation comes from. The part where you connect your own players might be like, hey, man, like I know the tendency of how my guys play certain things. Like, for example, you might have a guy that, he's supposed to be doing one thing, but he tends to kind of drift upfield a lot. Maybe you can say, all right, I know this guy tends to drift upfield, so I'm going to be ready to fall back here, right? Or I'm going to be ready to do this, given that my defensive tackle has a tendency to do this. For example, even in pass rush, like I had certain guys I worked with that I knew how they like to rush. Like Gerald McCoy, who's, NFL Hall of Famer one day, right? I played with him in Carolina. I mean, the dude was a phenomenal pass rusher, but he got way upfield. Like that was how he rushed. So as an edge rusher, my job is to contain the quarterback. But from an anticipation standpoint, and I'm a younger guy, I mean, they're going to give him the ability, the guy who's literally one of the best players in the NFL in the past decade or two, the luxury to do that stuff. It's my job to be able to anticipate, hey, when I'm rushing with GMAC, he gets upfield. So what do I need to do? I need to be prepared to run a natural, which is what we call where the defensive end naturally falls underneath, and I replace the defensive tackle. We're not even running a game. A game is, pass rush, like a pass rush game. Like when you're running movement up front. It's not even like an official game, but it turns into, that's what we call it, a natural. It turns into a natural game because I'm playing off of him. If he's shooting upfield, we can't have 2 guys flying upfield. Why? Because that's going to part the Red Sea, and that quarterback's going to scramble right up the middle, and we have no contain from the inside. So you just got to know your players. Go ahead.
I mean, like to me, because I'm in my mind, I'm like, all right, these guys have so much going on in their mind, like because they're trying to draw like multiple blockers, and you're saying that they also kind of have to anticipate. It just seems like when you explain this to me, it's like 4 or 5 different jobs that they're going through like in one play.
Oh yeah, no, it is.
To make sure you guys have success.
Yeah, 100%. And the good thing is, Ricky, I mean, it's like anything else. Your brain learns to kind of adapt and kind of like not predict, but you know what I mean? That's literally the job of your brain, right? I mean, all day it's scanning stuff, right? So in football, when you're on the football field, it's no different. But that's why, reps are so important. That's why when you hear my dad talk about, oh, he doesn't have the receiver, he doesn't have this, like, to a lot of people, they just hear like, oh, it doesn't matter. He could just show up and play. Yes, he could show up and end up being a really good player, but that's why those in-game reps are so valuable. Because what happens is you just learn, your brain it understands like how things are going to probably play out. But to answer your question, man, like the keys help you out tremendously, and that's why you got to be a smart football player. I mean, football is literally not. People think it's just like, oh man, we line up and we're just running. Oh, it's a run where everybody run at the guy at the ball. Hell no, that's the furthest thing from what it is.
Right.
It's literally all about like staying like. Alignment, assignment, and then you got to react. So that's what we always just say. So it starts with your alignment, and in your assignment, what am I supposed to do? Like, but don't get me wrong. I don't want to overcomplicate it where it's like, oh, I have to literally know this whole puzzle piece every single play, even though it is like that. But at the same time, like for example, if we look at this diagram, like as an outside linebacker, that guy, because they have it on the right side of the screen, he's playing off that tackle. Like his responsibility right here, I mean, look, I'm thinking it's a run, but I'm reading my keys, right? That tackle stance is giving off more of a pass set stance. So I might say, all right, there's a chance that this guy's going to pass block, even though they're in more of a running formation. Could be play action. But then I'm still going to read and react. And then as soon as he gives me a small movement, I'm going to naturally react, right? If I see him immediately block or come at me in a run block, I'm going to go, my brain's going to click and go, run. So I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to physically set an edge, and I'm going to be prepared to play the run. If it's play action, then I start rushing off of that. If I see him immediately kick step as if he's pass blocking, I'm trained to go. Now, if it ends up being draw, I got to redirect, and I got to, settle it down and come back. So, like, little things, Ricky, like, you know what I'm saying? You're thinking about all this, but at the same time, you're also reacting. So as a football player, man, like, you're reading what your eyes are telling you. That's why we talk about eye discipline, right? Your eyes don't lie. Right. So just literally, they'll tell you, if I see a guard pull, 90% of the time, the ball is following the guard. So if those linebackers are trained, right, play off the guard, float the guard, just follow your keys, right, and react accordingly. But yeah, man, there's a lot going on pre-snap, post-snap, and then you do it all over again.
See, to me right now, like I'm learning this thing. To me right now is kind of like driving a car. So right now I'm focused on the lines in front of me, and then I can start worrying about stop signs and pedestrians and things like that. So I'm just trying to learn, bro. That's all. That's why.
No, I love it. No, I love teaching it. Hey, but you know what's funny? Like, so what we're doing right now, imagine having to do this for like an NFL team, like the stress of like, oh man, like my dreams of playing in the NFL, and I've got an NFL team sitting there like quizzing me like on the spot, even though it's something you do every day. Bro, this is what it feels like when you're sitting in there with those GMs and those NFL head coaches, and they're sitting there putting you on the board, but they're asking you about they teach you their system for like 10 minutes and they quiz you on it. Oh man, bro. You're like, oh shoot, I don't want to mess this up.
They're paying you millions of dollars. They gotta know they gotta make sure you know what you're doing.
No, it makes sense. It's just funny, like, oh bro, this is stressful, bro. But yeah, man, good stuff, man. Don't worry, we'll keep breaking it down. Don't worry, you're gonna be Coach Ricky by I don't know. We'll give you your final exam before August 30th, before the big game, man. We'll see if you pass your coaching exam here on the Miller's Edge.
Hey, make it November, and we'll talk. Definitely talk. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Ricky. All right, good deal. Top of the hour break. We'll be right back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Good stuff. Good stuff. Defense is a dance. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Carson, because you literally you have to react. Like Roman was saying, like, we don't know what the hell is going to happen. We can only just do our homework and try to be as prepared as possible. Like offense, they know what they're doing, right? I mean, they call a play, all right, bet. They literally know exactly what they're doing. Now, granted, they have to, at times react, right? I'll give them a little bit of credit. They have to react if they got a stunt, something like that. They've got to adjust and, react. But, I mean, they have that advantage, though. They at least know what they're supposed to be doing. Us, on the other hand, I mean, hell, we just got to go off of our keys. It's like muscle memory. Exactly, Dwight. Yeah, I mean, it really is. The more you rep it, the more it kind of just starts coming naturally, man. But that's why you just gotta watch tape, man. That's why, nowadays, I mean, a lot of guys, I mean, I feel like they don't watch tape as much as they probably used to. I mean, everybody's doing everything else outside of it, but tape, I mean, will literally transform your game. You know what I mean? It's not just a cliche thing, but like the best players, they know it, right? That's why Minka is so good. He can anticipate things. Luke Kuechly, who I played with, I mean, arguably, I mean, hands down, smartest dude I've ever played with. And what he consumed tape 24/7. So I mean, he knew all the tendencies, all the formational things. He knew what was coming, and for each team, like I mean, he did it every week. So we were playing Tampa Bay. He knew, all right, this is what Jameis and Tampa like to get to. If they're in this set, this is what we're expecting here. I mean, he was calling out plays before it even happened. And I don't even think I've ever heard him call out a wrong play, honestly. I don't think he's ever been wrong. I can't even think back and think like, oh, he called something that went right. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but not in my experience. Here's another little. I don't know if I like that diagram. I was going to show you guys the. I don't know if I like that, but at least it shows the different gaps in alignments. I'll show it. It's got a lot going on, but this is what I meant to show Ricky. If he hops back in here, I'll see it. But it doesn't. Obviously, they're just showing all the guys in the alignments. This is not an actual defensive front. I mean, maybe PAT block, but but I just wanted to show us because you see it. I mean, A gaps, like I mentioned, on both sides of the center, you got the A gaps, B gaps in between guards and tackles, C gaps outside the tackles, and those would be tight ends. So you could say between tackle and tight end, if there's a tight end, and then outside is a D gap. And then where you see the odd numbers, so that would be all the alignments of the defensive linemen that are traditional alignments. The reason I say traditional is because you always are typically in shades unless there's certain things, right? Certain fronts where you might be in like head up alignments, but typically you're always shaded. So a 3-5, or so one technique would be shaded on the center. 3 technique would be not necessarily shaded. You get what I'm saying? Offset, like hand to foot. We used to always just say hand to foot. So you're inside a hand to their foot. 3 techniques, that's on the guard. 5 technique on the tackle. And we used to, and some teams are different. So the way we used to do it was we didn't call it a 7. What we called a 7 was really a 6-eye. And then our 9 technique was like our 9 technique will be what they have listed as a 7. And we called a 7 like inside. I don't know why necessarily we did that like that, but everybody's different. And then the even numbers are when you're head up. So head up on the tight end's a 6, head up on the tackle is a 4, head up on the guard is a 2, and head up on the center is a 0. And then the eye is if you're shaded inside. So it'll be a slight shade on the inside. 6 eyes, slight shade inside a tight end. 4 eyes, slight shade inside tackle. Oh, damn, we're coming back. Hold on.
Afternoon, a few scattered showers.
Oh, we got a couple seconds. If you guys got any questions, you can always drop them, by the way.
The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 86 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome into hour number 2 right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Chase, we gotta come up with the name of this segment that we've been doing, man. Like the football lesson segment. I mean, I feel like that's too plain of a name. Like football lesson. I mean, like teach tape. That could be one. Chase, give me a good name, man. I guess we could always ask Chat GPT. That will come up with one. What could we call a segment where we're teaching football like this? In this capacity, well, Christian's coaching, maybe? No? How's that one?
Captain of the X and O's? Oh, that sounds cheesy. My bad.
No, it doesn't sound bad. No, I mean, Captain's coaching. If you want to use that one, or Christian's
That's a good
coaching.
one.
Yeah, maybe we'll call it something like that. We'll do one of those. So that way, we just designate a slot to really breaking down some of this stuff. But anyway, if you guys are on the stream, we got a little diagram pulled up to explain these defensive alignments that go hand in hand with the fronts that we talked about yesterday. If you guys are on the radio, feel free to check us out on YouTube at The Miller's Edge, on Facebook at Tide 100.9, the Facebook page there. We're streaming live, but you guys can see because Ricky was asking a question yesterday, and I found this diagram. It actually explains all of those things, from the gaps to the way we number, our shades and our alignments from a defensive perspective. For example, Ephraim is in the chat. He asked what technique means 3, 4, 5. So basically, the odd numbers are when you're shaded outside. The even numbers are when you're shaded or excuse me, not shaded, when you're head up. So that's what that means. The most common you'll see, I mean, I shouldn't say most common, but like I mentioned, like even, over and under fronts, right? Those are very traditional fronts. Like I mentioned earlier, the under front, you're going to have that 5 to like that strong side, right? So if there's a tight end, you have a 5, then the 1 and 3, and then you just flip it, right? So the over would be the opposite. So then the 3 would be to that like tight end side, and then you'd have the 1 and the 5. But what was I about to say? I lost my train of thought. But anyway, that's basically how it's all broken down. So this is actually, it looks confusing because you just see a diagram. Number one, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 guys lined up, but they're just using 8 guys to show the different alignments. Again, I mean, eight man fronts like that, maybe field goal block. But anyway, yeah, so it's explaining that. So again, just a quick recap. The letters are the gaps: A gaps, B gaps, C gaps. Remember, both in between the center and the guard, A gap, guard and tackle B, tackle, tight end C. And then we just mentioned the shades, 3, 4, or 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Those are shades, and then the head up alignments. But yeah, I thought this diagram would help you guys have a better understanding. But to put all this in terms of front, so basically just a front just dictates how guys line up. And so basically, if we call the front, that's actually a good little segue, Chase. So in terms of like play calling, this is how guys know what to do, because you learn the front. So you learn what an even front is. You learn what an odd front is. You learn what an over, under, okie, bear. I mean, there's all types of fronts. But once you learn what they are, you just know what the alignments are, right? So I just talked about the over and golly, man, you start saying all this, you start tripping up over yourself. Over and under fronts, you learn what those are. You know, all right, we got a 1, 3, 5, 5, 3, whatever, and you just know you line up accordingly to the strength and go from there. So once you learn that stuff, guys, I promise it gets way easier. It's not like you have to go, okay, even, okay, 5 or 3. No. You just know, man. If I'm playing defensive end, I'm either in a 5 technique or a 3 technique, depending on what the front is, like that, and then you go from there. Or it could be a 4-eye, depending on how you line up. So there's that. We'll dive more into that on another day. I don't want to get too deep in all that talk. That being said, thank you, Mike. That's a good suggestion. Christian's Chalk Talk. That's a good one, Mike. I like that. Christian's Chalk Talk. Maybe we'll roll with that. We'll just pick like one thing out a day to kind of break down. And we can do offense too. Now, obviously, I might have to bring some of my offensive teammates on to really give you guys a much deeper dive onto some of that stuff. I mean, definitely I can explain. I mean, I know route trees. I know, hell, going against offensive linemen, I probably could coach some offensive line stuff, give them, when you go against them, you know what they're doing. But in terms of, I'm not going to lie to you, man, like you start getting into depth with certain things. Like I can tell you, running backs hitting holes and doing things like that, but they'll know way more than I would. Maybe we'll get certain guys from different positions to kind of break some stuff down. That would be a good idea. That being said, what's a plan for hour number 2? This is what we're going to do. We're due for a quick timeout. We're going to hit that. But when we do come back, we're going to jump back into some media day talk because we obviously got plenty more to talk about. I want to hear from Caden Proctor, get more of an offensive side. We talked a lot about defense, heard a lot from Kalen DeBoer. So let's go to Caden Proctor when we come back. We'll hear what he had to say at SEC Media Day. He had a number of good things to talk about, so we'll hear that. And more, all coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Plus, 1230, we will be joined by Reagan Starner of R&R Cigars to talk some SEC football and the big fight weekend they have at R&R Cigars this weekend. All that coming up right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their showroom to serve you better. Come see their new and pre-owned Mazda lineup, offering fuel efficiency, advanced technology, and plush comfort. Tuscaloosa Mazda, 3100 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Hey, that's the spirit. Right now, we're celebrating free with a free STP oil filter when you buy 5 quarts of oil and free Duralast brake pads when you buy 2 rotors. Like always, free battery testing, charging, and recycling at every store. Celebrate free at AutoZone now through July 28th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Are you looking for the perfect weekend getaway? Look no further. Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi offers the experience of a lifetime. World-class entertainment, unique shopping, and the ultimate in fine dining. And if that's not enough, hit the links at the world-renowned Azaleas and Oaks courses at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club and complete your stay in luxurious relaxation at the spa. Your exhilarating weekend awaits only at Pearl River Resort, where you'll be at the center of it all. Must be 21 or older.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful with your money. Fraudsters aren't. Before you invest, call our...
Christian, your transition from freshman to sophomore or high school to freshman in college, which was harder to adjust? Good question. Definitely high school to freshman. I think that's always going to be the most difficult transition because I mean, literally everything is different. Like, I mean, your schedule, I mean, the competition, I mean, what's expected. Even just what you have to learn. Like, I mean, what's expected of you in terms of on and off the field. I mean, it's totally different. You go from high school. I mean, you're probably bigger than everybody. You're definitely probably faster than everybody. I mean, you're just clearly better than everybody. Then you show up to a place like Alabama. I know for me, especially being somebody that had to grow and develop physically, right? I'd always been mature mentally, but from a physical standpoint, man, I still was growing, and getting here and being like the first, I guess the new, like prototype outside linebacker was not easy. I mean, because we were typically using guys that were 260 plus, and here I come at like 205. Rashawn Evans was like 220. I mean, Tim Williams they brought in the year prior, but Tim was like 235, 240. So we were kind of like the first new wave of the young, smaller, more athletic outside linebackers. So it was definitely an adjustment because they were training us up like everybody else, the guys that were 260, and they were expecting a lot from us physically as if we were those guys, even though clearly it was not going to be the same, right? I mean, that's a totally different prototype. So that was really difficult for me, just kind of trying to really adapt and get used to that. And then plus this system compared to my high school system. In high school, I mean, when it came to knowing, how to drop and stuff like that, I was prepared from that standpoint because I had to drop in high school. I played off the ball
5'2".
If anything, I had an advantage of that. I mean, that was no problem. If anything, I was one of the better ones in the room because, I mean, I'd been doing that. But when it came to having to play a true 6 technique, right? So we're looking at this diagram. A 6 technique is lining up, head up on a tight end. I never really had to do that in high school. I mean, if I was stunting inside. But I wasn't, hand in the dirt, head up on a 260-pound tight end. Nah, I wouldn't.
I'm James Spann.
That was new to me. And so doing that at 205 and you're going against a dude that's a third-year dude who's 50 pounds heavier than you, man.
On Tide 100.9.
It's a different ball game, not to mention lining up across a 240-pound running back in the backfield. And you're 205. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. All right, we got Reagan Starner of R&R Cigars joining us at 1230. So we're going to go ahead and listen to Caden Proctor from yesterday and hear what he had to say when he took the podium at SEC Media Days. Oh. Where he even starts. There we go. Here he comes.
Questions. Who would like to start off? We'll go in the middle here, the back row.
Hey, Caden, Michael Bronner, WNSP in Mobile. You were quoted earlier today talking about the quarterback battle, saying you guys really don't know who the quarterback is going to be. I was wondering if you could talk about all three guys and, the development you've seen from Keelan specifically since he's gotten to campus.
So starting off with Ty, I mean, he's been there for, 4 years now. He knows what to do. He's doing his best abilities to succeed, and just having that experience. I know he hasn't been a starting quarterback, but he knows what he's doing. And Austin Mack, he's been at that same type of level too. Like, he knows what he's doing. Tall guy, lengthy. I mean, something that I want to point out is they all can run. They can scoop. The arm talent is crazy from all three of them. And I'm just proud of Keelan for coming in as a freshman. It's not hard, especially, being the SEC at quarterback, but they're all three doing their job. So I'm proud of all of them.
Middle, second row.
Hey, Caden. I'm curious, when you have a group of very highly touted offensive linemen that come in from this freshman class, what's your first message to them and be like, okay, this is how the SEC is different? So
my first message to them is that I've been through some hard things, and I never want them to go through what I had to go through my freshman year, after giving up however many sacks that I did. So I just want to show them that I love them. I care for them. If they want to come talk to me, if they want to go watch film, they can call me up, and I just want to be that role model for them. So yeah.
Right side, third row.
Hey, Caden, Johnny Condon, ABC 3340 Sports in Birmingham. Ryan Williams kind of flashed last year as a freshman, became kind of a superstar throughout the country. I'm interested to see what he's like behind the scenes with teammates and just how he's handled that level of fame and success after 1 year.
Behind the scenes, he is a funny guy. Like, if y'all ever get to talk to him, he's a funny, goofy guy. Obviously, you've seen the TikTok dances. He's not afraid of who he is, and I love that for him. And he's had great success his first year, and I know year two is going to be even better for him. Sure.
We'll go in the middle, fourth row.
Caden, Tyler Shaw with KBTX and College Station. Wanted to ask about one of your new teammates, Cam Dewberry, on that offensive line. Just kind of what is he like as a teammate, and kind of what does he add to that group?
What he brings to this group is intensity. I mean, he's had those years where he started. He's been playing since early freshman year, so he's been through those tough environments. He knows what's going on, and I mean, he's older than me, so he has a little bit more experience than me. So some things that I don't know, he could teach me. And I love that, we have those elder guys. We always have a mix of young guys too that he can teach and that I can teach. And we kind of feed off of each other for sure from the past experiences that we've had.
Right side, then pass it forward, please.
Caden, Coach DeBoer mentioned kind of a rotation that you'll have of 6 offensive linemen right now. Just how have you seen that group come along throughout the spring and the summer?
I would say every single offensive lineman, just going from the whatever top 6 to all 20 of them, even the walk-ons, we're working our tails off in the weight room, in the meeting room. Like, especially I just want to highlight the freshmen that have came in. All of them came in ready to go, ready to work. I would say even better than me when I came in as a freshman. They just have that level of intensity to them, and I know they want to work. But the top 6, I mean, whoever those 5 are that are, come August 30th, I'm gonna be proud of each one of them, and I know that the coaches are gonna make the best decision moving forward. So,
second row.
Alex Byington on 3. A lot has been made of Thomas Castellano's comments this offseason. First off, what was the reaction within the locker room when the FSU quarterback is saying what he's saying? And then what does it say about the standard of that team, Alabama, that you have an opposing quarterback speaking like that?
We really don't focus on that too much. I mean, it's all going to come down to the preparation. We're going to see on August 30th who the winner is, but that's not the focus right now. We haven't even made it to fall camp yet. We still have a couple weeks of summer workouts left. So that's been the intent and focus right now from our group, and we're not really giving in to whatever anybody else is saying. It's all internal, keeping it in-house, man.
Left side, fourth row, then pass it over, please.
Jordan Hill, Dogs 24/7. Caden, y'all's game against Georgia last year, back and forth, a wild one. What immediately comes to mind when you think back to that game and just how it played out?
I feel like everybody did their job to the best of their abilities and ultimately came out with the dub. But not just that Georgia game. We've had those games. I mean, the SEC is tough, man. That's just how those games go. And keeping the team down like that. I know we got up 28-0, but it's hard keeping the team down like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great team, and it's always an exciting one when we play them.
All right, here's what we're going to do, guys. So we just got through about half of the Caden Proctor interview. We're going to go ahead and hit this timeout because we got Reagan Starner of R&R Cigars coming up at 12:30. So I wanted to make sure we hit a break early enough to get him on here on time. We'll discuss all things SEC, take a look at some of these top programs in the conference, kind of preview them, and also talk about the big UFC fight weekend that's coming up this weekend that they will be hosting a watch party there at R&R Cigars. And we'll also finish up listening to Caden, maybe try to get into Deontay Lawson as well if we have enough time later on in the show. But first, we got to take a quick time out right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Support Experts. We'll be right back. Here, I'll let it run for the stream.
Left side back row. Dan Pack, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. A lot was new for Coach DeBoer last year. Have you noticed any growth or development in his second season as your head coach?
I would just say that he's more comfortable. It's hard coming into the SEC as a first-year head coach. I mean, that's stressful for sure. And I don't want anybody to hate on my coach or anything like that. So I'm doing everything to my best ability to provide, for him to have the best success. You know what I'm saying? So, but I would say the comfortability. We're relationship based, and that's just what it's been throughout this past year.
Fourth row in the middle, then pass it to your right.
Hey, Cade, Nick Wiggins over in Mobile, Alabama. You've been in the SEC a minute. They say it just means more. I'm curious if you have an interesting story on what was your welcome to the SEC moment where you thought, man, it really is different here.
I would say just freshman year, we obviously seen the stats that I gave up and how many sacks. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself right there, is how hard it was. But one specific play was Middle Tennessee, my first ever game. I'm taking the outside zone track to the right. And before I had even got my right foot in the ground, I had a linebacker run through my chest. He wasn't even worrying about the play. He was just trying to run through me. So that's how I knew it was like, yep, that's welcome to college football right there. And that's from that day on, man, I think about it. I just got to laugh it off, honestly. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. He says that play still sticks with him. I had a play in high school, man, where I had like tweaked my ankle earlier in the game. So I mean, like, I just wasn't feeling great already. Not even to make an excuse. I mean, it's just part of it. Yeah, but I just remember I was lined up on this tight end, and I don't know what I was thinking in my head, man. But it ended up being a run play. I was like either being lazy, my ankle. I don't know, man. Just not even gonna make an excuse, man. The dude he knocked me off the ball like 5 yards, right? It's not like he pancaked me or anything, but like on the tape, you can just see like he got this first initial just like punch on me. And then I started kind of stumbling back, and it was like he's sensing blood. So he's coming at me, like blocking me even more. I'm like stumbling. He like blocks me like 5, 6, 7 yards down the field, man. And I feel like that play. I remember that play like my whole high school. I can envision it right now. I remember exactly how I went. I watched it probably what felt like 100 times. So I know exactly how he feels about that, man. But those plays or situations are really what helps you grow, because it's like you don't ever want that feeling again. And so you'll do whatever it takes not to ever let that happen. But I respect it, man. Caden Proctor, really well spoken, man. Those last two questions, man, he answered those really well.
Protect you from fire.
He answered those really well. Let's let it keep going.
Front row.
Alex Scarborough, 247 Sports. I wanted to ask you about one guy you play alongside and one guy you go against in practice. Gino Vandemark, what has he brought to this program last year? What can he bring this year? And then Quay Russo, have you sort of seen him develop?
For Gino, he's had a lot of experience. He's in his last year of eligibility. He's played a long time of football. He knows what he's doing. He's a smart guy. But ever since going to Alabama, he's gotten stronger, gotten faster. And he's just had that focus and intent, knowing that he's an older guy and knows that this is his last year. He's got a sense of urgency, honestly, to be the best that he can. And Quay, I remember a play yesterday where
The National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. He paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school.
That's just how he is. He's a fast, strong, powerful guy. You never know what he's going to do. He's got great hands, great feet, powerful guy. That's really what it is. He's a strong dude. So that's what I want to highlight about him. And he's about business also. So they're both about business.
Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Title 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, I think we're still waiting on Reagan to get connected, so we'll keep on rolling. We got just a couple minutes left in this Caden Proctor interview, so we'll hear the last couple minutes of that, and we'll keep rolling from there. So here we go.
2 final questions in the red shirt, then pass it over your shoulder, please.
Caden, Jarrett Bates, WNSP Mobile. You've had a unique opportunity being in the SEC, playing lots of football there against great opponents, protecting a guy who's a crazy athlete like Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams outside, freak athlete there, and even maybe in your time transferring back to Iowa, seeing Caitlin Clark. Who's the best college athlete you think you've ever seen?
I would say Caitlin Clark for sure. There's talks about who's the best athlete to come out of Iowa, and I don't want anybody to say my name. I don't want anybody to say my name. I want them to say Caitlin Clark, because the things that I've seen her do is crazy. And that's probably, I want to say that's the best basketball player that I've seen, honestly. So.
Caden, you've talked a couple of times about the struggles from freshman year. What do you think was the biggest reason for that? And what do you think you've been able to change so that you're not, getting beaten all the time and giving up sacks?
I feel like I got flustered a lot. It's hard thinking. You play slower when you think. You get up to the ball, you're not really sure about what you're doing. So that was the biggest part. It wasn't about the weight or anything like that, because I played last season 10 pounds heavier than I was my freshman season, and I had better stats than my freshman year. So I feel like it's just thinking. It's hard mentally. It's a mental challenge, especially playing in tough environments. So
great job. I wish we had more time with you.
So, thank you.
So that was Alabama offensive tackle Caden Proctor. Really, really interesting question he finished off on, talking about what are some things he's going to do or continue to do to, avoid having some of those mishaps, some of those plays that he gave up his freshman year. Now, I do agree with him in terms of as a freshman and you're thinking a lot, especially just getting in there, you're throwing in at left tackle. I mean, knowing that's arguably one of the most important positions on the football field, especially on the offense. And when you're trying to process everything, you play slower. You've heard, my dad and I talk about it so many times that, think less, that way you can play faster, right? The less you have to think, the faster you can play. So he's right. Now, it was interesting, though. He did say last year he played 10 pounds heavier. I do remember going into the year, there was a bunch of talk that everybody was boasting how he lost a whole bunch of weight. And I kept saying, like, every time I would see him up there, I'm like, man, I'll be honest with you. Everybody's saying he's down to this. Like, he went from 360 something to like 330. But I would see him up there and I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know he has a frame that holds his weight, but at the same time, I'm not really seeing somebody that's lost 30 pounds. But he claims he ended up being 10 pounds heavier last year. And I look, as a football player, I understand. Like, no one knows you better than yourself. Like, how your body feels. How you just feel day in and day out, going out to practice, the way you're moving, if something's slowing you down or if you feel better, faster, whatever. I get it. I agree with him. But I would argue that it may, and I get, yes, he had better stats even though he's 10 pounds heavier. So in his mind, it's like there's not a direct correlation to his weight and his performance. But I would argue that he could be even better of a football player if he lost weight. To me, I think that's a trap. If you go, oh, I played 10 pounds heavier and I was able to perform better. I don't think you should view it like that. I think you should view it as, what can I do to be the best football player possible? Not like, okay, well, I still was better than I was. And I know he was joking about having like a Krispy Kreme addiction. His nickname's like Crispy, but like, all jokes aside, man, like, especially when you get to the next level, you have to look for every single advantage possible. I don't care, like in college, like, and I get it, even playing in the SEC. I mean, you're going against the best of the best. But when you get to NFL, man, it's the true definition of the best of the best. And I tell this story all the time. The biggest difference between the pros for me in college, hands down, was the margin of error. Like, you don't have that room for error in the NFL like you do in college, right? When I tell you, I mean, these guys literally, man, I mean, are the top players in the world. And so you can't afford to have a misstep. You can't afford to be a split second. It's like other guys are capitalizing on that. And so from my perspective, I still would encourage him. I still believe, because he's probably like 360, and I get it. Like, his frame, he's a bigger guy. We've always said it, even on this show, like, he's not going to be a 315 guy. But I think even if he was down to 335, 340 for that matter, hell, I even think if he was 345 from 360, would make 15 pounds makes a big difference. I think it would just benefit him so much in terms of that lateral quickness, his ability to really move, right? Because that really was his problem. And he still has solid lateral quickness for a guy. So, like, for his size, it's actually really good. But when we're talking about really elevating his game, man, I think that's the thing that he could do to his game. Chase, you still have me? I know I got some issues on my end with the camera. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
All right, good. I wanted to make sure. I guess my camera just kind of went out, but I'm still here, so we're all good. All right. But anyway, so that's what I see. And Chase, I know, I mean, I'm not going to ask you your football take on that, but does that make sense, Chase, in terms of, like, I get what he means by he played better last season, even being 10 pounds heavier, but, like, I feel like it boils down to your mindset, right? Like, do you want to be just better than where you were last year, or do you want to be the absolute best? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think it's kind of the mindset, really. You kind of look at the demeanor of how he was. Can you hear me, Christian?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix the camera, but it's fine. I'll roll without a camera.
Okay, there we go. All right, we're cool. But yeah, just to kind of keep it short, but yeah, I think it's about a mindset, because I see a lot of, like, offensive linemen that have these conversations with these boarders, and they're just kind of like, I'm just going to ground and pound, and that's it. But when you're watching Proctor, it's just a different mindset that, I guess, before he went to Iowa, I just see a different person in him. He seems determined. I expect a lot of big things from him, but yeah, to answer your question, I think it's about mindset.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just me offering advice. Now, I mean, again, he's right. He improved last year. He played better. He did a much better job in terms of pass protection. I mean, he's always been a big, strong, physical guy. I mean, even in pass pro, like, I mean, I've watched him, in their one-on-ones at practice. I mean, like, he does move well for his size. All I'm saying was, listen to his answer. I just would urge him to just consider, like, man, yeah, even though you played well, 10 pounds heavier, just think about how much better you could be if you did, shed some weight, right? Because I would say the average NFL tackle, Chase, is probably about 3. It depends, right? I would say on average, you're anywhere between, like, I don't know, probably like 320, right? Because 315 would be like a lean tackle. But there's a lot of guys in the league that are definitely like 330 range. So that's why I was like 320. Like, when you start getting up past that, you have some guys, but stature matters, right? It's like a guy like, you have a few guys that are in that 360 plus, and that would be, like Orlando Brown, Trent, Big Trent, that's playing with New England. Those kind of guys, But yeah, I guess I don't know. The frame matters, but I mean, he's what 6? And they got him listed at 6'7". I mean, like, can he do it? Yeah. I mean, it's not like the worst thing. I mean, if he can move, he can move. I mean, let me pull up those guys I just mentioned. I think it was Orlando Brown. Let's see how much he weighs. Let's see. No, maybe on. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I had to type in NFL. Chase, I got the other Orlando Brown pop up. It was dude from Disney Channel. We don't want to search him, man. He be saying some crazy stuff. Okay, so look, Orlando Brown, he's 350, and I think he lost a little bit of weight because I think he might have been a little bit bigger initially. I can't remember what he weighed in at the combine, but he's 6'8", 350, and I'm sure you guys have seen Orlando Brown Jr. And who's he playing with now? I know he's with Cincinnati now, but he played with Baltimore, played with the Chiefs. That's a big dude. They got him at 350. Let's look up what let's see, Trent Williams. Let's see what Trent Williams weighs because he's a bigger tackle, right? Trent's probably what, 330? 320. Trent's 320. And then let's see, Trent Brown. God, all these dudes got the same. Orlando Brown, Trent Williams, Trent Brown. I guess all the tackles in the league got the same damn name too. He's 6'8", 380. So he's one of probably the bigger tackles in the league, if not the. I mean, he's at 6'8", 380. Is that? But the rest of them, man. I mean, we probably could even Google this stat. Average NFL tackle weight. I know there's a stat for it because everybody talks about the arm length. Everybody's always obsessed with the length. He probably don't have that problem. He's got the length, man. He's got the height and length. That's definitely nothing for him. We need weight though. Why is it going? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Offensive tackle. It says the average weight according to this website. I don't even know if this is very accurate, but who knows? 317. It sounds good. Sounds good to me. Now, I don't know if I would see him being that slim, but like I said, 330, even 340, I think would do him justice, man. But I guess you got to leave that up to him, the position coaches, nutrition staff. That's ultimately their decision. But anyway, nonetheless, really good interview from him. During the break, we played a little bit more of it. He had a really good response to, them asking about the Georgia game. That'll be a good one for sure. And spoke really highly of his young guys and even talked about things he learned from being a young player and the adversity he went through. So now he's always offering that support to his teammates. That way he can be somebody that they can lean on rather than, how he felt his freshman year when he was really hard on himself and probably didn't necessarily, know what to do in terms of, reaching out and trying to have, some people kind of help bring him up. So anyway, good stuff from him. This is what we're going to do. We're going to hit this timeout. We come back. We'll try to get Reagan. If not, we'll go to Deontay Lawson. We'll wrap up some of this media day activity right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
All right, let me see if this camera works now. Nope, still not working. So we'll guess we'll finish the show like this. All good. We'll get it back up and going tomorrow. Get it back. Oh, let's get this Deontay Lawson video pulled up. Yeah, 317 average weight for an offensive tackle. Damn, though, he must have really been hitting the Krispy Kreme heavy, though, because, I mean, there were reports that he had dropped down like at least 20 pounds last offseason. And if that's the case, that means he gained about 30 back, right? Because if he lost 20, then played 10 over. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. If I was strength and condition nutrition staff, I know he might feel comfortable playing like that, but I would make it an effort. I would make an effort to try to get him down. It's only going to make him better. I mean, I think that'd be a game changer for him. I really do. Yeah, I think he is about around that 3.6. I mean, let's see what is he listed as? I mean, I'm not going to trust this too much because I already know it's probably going to be a little off, but let's see what they have him listed as. Oh no, they got him at 360. I mean, I'm telling even like 340, man. Because again, with his frame, he's naturally going to be a bigger dude. I think 340 would at least be solid, though. I mean, I think if he were to get down to that and feel the difference, he probably would be like, damn, I should have been done this. But you're right. It's not like he's just like this big, like fat dude. I mean, like he's kind of reminds me of my big lab I got. I mean, it's just big, bigger one dog. I'm talking about my dog now. Big dog, but he's not like necessarily fat. I mean, you still see definition. He's just a big dog. All right, looks like we'll try to get Reagan on tomorrow. So we'll definitely we'll listen to this Deontay Lawson video when we come back. That'll be kind of us putting a bow on media days.
But I will be one of the first to respond.
I say that, then obviously there's going to be more coming out of it that we hadn't touched, but
The Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
When it comes to foundation repair, try.
Let's see. All right, got it pulled up.
1976 or visit bdryalabama.com and
If you guys haven't already, man, make sure you guys drop us a like. That always helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't. Got a lot of good stuff planned, man, especially coming up this season, man. So don't miss out on that. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Follow us on X too. That way you guys stay up to date there as well. We appreciate it.
Requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rental. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather. A hot, humid afternoon. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible through the evening hours. The high today 93, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow, morning sunshine. A few spots could see an afternoon storm. The high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 88 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Again, we're pushing Reagan to tomorrow. We couldn't get a hold of him, but no worries. Just remember, they do have the UFC fight weekend going on this weekend at R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street. Check them out. They're putting on the fights. You can't find it anywhere else. So make sure you guys, if you're looking for somewhere to go to watch it, check them out. They'll have it there for you right there at R&R Cigars here in Tuscaloosa. All right. Let's put a bow on SEC Media Days, and now let's go listen to Deontay Lawson when he took the podium.
My name's
You
Cameron
can't make
Salo.
this up.
I'm Dylan Salo.
Every time we go to start the video, they hit us with a quick ad. These people are messy, man. Here we go.
We have Deontay here, and he is ready for your questions. We will start on the left side on the third row.
Good morning, Deontay. AP Stedham, AP as we see it. Deontay, what would you like to see different from the defense this year?
I'm sorry, I had to stop that. Chase, I mean, is this guy a super villain in some damn movie? Who the hell just asked that question? I mean, like AP from AP something. I mean, like, dude, come on, man. I mean, is this a movie trailer or we got media days? Like, come on, guy.
You know, to help the team win, what would you like to see different?
I think
I think we just all have to be bought in. I think that started right when the bowl game ended, and we just all had to come together. I think being year one and Coach Wool's system, we had our bumps and bruises that we had to go through throughout the season, and we just had to get more reps. I think as the season progressed, we were able to get better from it, and I'm very excited for our defense this year, and I feel like we have more guys that knows Coach Wool's system, and we know the rep. I mean, we know the scheme. Now it's all about honing in on what the offense do, so we're able to anticipate at the highest level and fly around.
Right side, fourth row.
Deontay, Johnny Condon, ABC 3340 Sports in Birmingham. Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos, transfer from Boston College, had some choice words this offseason, some bulletin board material talking about how he don't think that your defense can stop him, and said that they're not the same without Nick Saban. To a leader of that defense, to hear those comments, what's your reaction?
Yeah. Obviously, people gonna say what makes them feel the most confident. But it's something we can't really worry about because nothing matters other than what goes on inside those lines, and we'll see when the game gets here, and we'll prepare and make sure we're ready for August 30th, and we'll see it when you get here.
Middle, fourth row, and then pass it to your left.
Deontay, Jared Bates here, Mobile, Alabama, WNSP. Good to see a hometown kid here at SEC Media Days. But Deontay, in the SEC, so many great places to play. Y'all were undefeated at home last year, but is there a road stadium that has stuck out in your time in the conference?
Man, to be honest with you, I think every road SEC game is tough because I think I played pretty much everywhere in the SEC. I'll go to Georgia this year, but even when we play Arkansas or Tennessee or Auburn, any road game, especially being Alabama, the fans are into it just a little bit more, and it's something we look forward to. We're all about a challenge, and we love coming in the away team stadium and trying to clear it out.
Stay on the fourth row and then pass it forward.
Hey, Deontay, Nick over in Mobile with WNSP. Coach DeBoer's talked a lot about how you are a leader and you're a mentor to everyone in that locker room. I'm curious, back in your hometown in Mobile, who are some of the leaders, coaches, and mentors who helped you get to the place you're at today and turn you into the man you are?
That's a great question. First, I think, my parents, of course. They always been my support system. They always been in my corner no matter what. And, I definitely think they raised me the right way. I had a high school coach, Ronnie Cottrell. He did a lot for me as well. And, it's a lot of people, that helped me get to where I am today. And, I definitely had a lot of people to look at in ways of don't do that or do that. And so I think that kind of molded me as well. But, I think it just comes back to my parents, man. They really, instill some in me at an early age. And, I was just able to, take it and run with it.
Fifth row on the right side, then pass it forward.
Trevor Denton with Way 31. Deontay, when you got hurt in that Oklahoma game, many people thought that was it for your college career. Why did you decide to return to Tuscaloosa, and how difficult or not difficult of a decision was that for you?
Let's be honest. Most pants, they fall short.
Yeah, it was definitely a very hard decision. I think any college athlete, any college football player, we all have dreams and aspirations of playing at the next level. And, I feel like I had that opportunity. But, I had to look past that a little bit. It was still some things I need to work on. Being a leader, more of a vocal leader, and just building more relationships off the field. I feel like this would be a good year to, kind of set me up for life after football. Obviously, I have dreams and aspirations of playing at the next level, but, I think the injury kind of made me realize that it could be taken away from you at any point. And, it kind of made me just want to dig deeper in, life after football, or, some goals after football, and getting some relationships settled. And, I think that was the biggest thing. It definitely was a tough decision though.
We'll go on the first row, then pass it over when you're done, please.
Deontay, you were just sort of talking about it, but your rehab, I mean, what did you go through? Obviously, it's a physical journey, but it's a mental journey as well to get back to where you are now. Can you kind of describe that for us, and what journey you went through?
Yeah. It was definitely a journey. I'm happy that I'm on the back end of it now, but, obviously it was something, I couldn't do by myself. I have full faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and he's just been showing me different ways of how he's been with me, and it's just amazing to see. And just having, like I said, my family, they just, them being my support system, them driving down to Tuscaloosa whenever they need to, just small things like that. It just makes it a little bit easier. Obviously, it's rough. Every day is not going to be pretty. You're going to have your days where you don't feel like doing it, but this is what I got to do. And another thing will be the medical team at Alabama. Jeremy Giselle, he's my guy, to be honest. I've been with him for the past 8 months, and every day, and we've been getting after it. And he just, when you have people around you, it just makes it a little bit easier. It's still something you gotta handle and get through, but it's all for a greater good.
Great answer, and really good insight from him. And he's 100% right. I worked closely with Jeremy as well when I had my biceps and sports hernia, every injury, man. And they do a really good job getting you back to full strength and really making you feel confident that you have that ability to do what's necessary to get back to full speed. So really nice, well thought answer by Deontay Lawson there. All right, we got to make room for T-Town Sports Daily coming up next. Appreciate everybody and all the contributions today. Look forward to doing it again with you tomorrow in 22 hours right here on the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. See you guys tomorrow.